Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Mike Scarpignato and welcome back to Crap Talk with Scarps. Today we are fortunate enough to be joined with Dave from MapPack Pro. Dave is one of the keys that we've used to help grow our business. Understanding MapPack is the key to a service company's future, right? So Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
What's your company called?
MapPack Pro, and I specialize in working with home service contractors to get them into the MapPack, which is Google Maps.
Just service companies, or is it also location-based companies?
I do work with different companies in Delco, but my specialty is really home service contractors.
Getting contractors found
on Google Maps.
On Google Maps, right? And that's one of I know for a fact one of our leading referral is plumbers near us, right? So ultimately, being found on Google Maps is what drives our service business. And that really is what kind of keeps the business afloat. So, can you describe, what MapPack Pro? You kind of have already said what that is, but what is it necessarily on getting found? Like how does that actually work?
Sure. So when someone does a local search, let's say plumber near me, there's a couple different spots on the homepage that you can that a person can click. One is at the very top, the ads, right? And then you'll see what we call the map pack or the 3-pack, where there's a map on one side and 3 Google business profiles on the other. And then we have the organic search results. Those are the websites. So when someone does a local search, what Google has kind of insinuated to us is that only about 5 to 10% click on the ads, about 15 to 20% click on the websites, and up to 75% click on those 3 businesses in the MapPack. So my idea with MapPack Pro is let's get these businesses in there because that's where the vast majority of the clicks are going, and it's also free. Like, you don't pay per click. Calls come from there, website traffic goes from there, they can click through to your website. So it just made sense to structure the business around getting them the most visibility and where they're gonna get the most clicks.
So, a little bit of going into detail about that. It's not just about getting your business certified,
Right.
or authorized to be on there. Couple quick hits on what is important to make that actually happen, to grow your revenue. What would be the top 2 or 3 things that help with that, other than just getting
getting in there
authorized?
Yeah, because once you get a verified account, it doesn't necessarily mean Google's going to show you in that map pack. So what we do is we have to structure the website to mirror and match what's on the Google business profile. So we optimize the profile. We add several different categories to kind of differentiate. We add all of your services in there, and then we have to mirror and match what's on the website, so that when Google crawls that website, they realize that what you were telling them on the profile matches the website. The other thing is regular reviews. That helps a lot. Regular updates to your profile helps a lot because it shows Google that you're active on the platform. And then also citations, like what other websites are mentioning your business? Does it match what you told Google? So are you listed on Apple Maps? Is it the exact same business name and address and phone number and website, or is it slightly different? If it's a little bit different, that's a signal that Google is saying, well, what do I trust? Do I trust what they told us or what they told Apple Maps? So we have to have an alignment between all the other websites that are mentioning you, your website, and the Google business profile. If they all match and we have all that activity, that's what Google starts picking up on and starts showing you in that map pack.
So ultimately, building out the Google business profile, the GMB, is probably the top thing that helps grow that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said you primarily work with home service contractors and things of that. Is that really your favorite type, just because it's the easiest to get into that map pack?
No, it's not the easiest. I wish it was, but I connect better with home service contractors. I used to flip houses, so I did a lot of the work myself, but I would hire subs to do things. So I understand the industry, and I also understand this area, because I've lived here almost my whole life. So I know when I work with a local home service contractor, I know what areas we should be focusing on. Where do they want the most business? Where are more of the higher end properties that might give them more revenue? So yeah, I wouldn't say, like, there's a ton, as you know, of home service contractors. So there's a lot more competition. However, I'd say 90% of them aren't doing what I'm doing with MapPack Pro. So we're really only competing against the top 10%.
So what is something unique about servicing businesses in Delco versus nationwide?
Right. Well, I think the unique part of it is my knowledge of this area, because I have clients all over the country that are home service contractors, but I have a large amount of them in this area, and I find it's not to say that I'm not doing good work for people that are in California or Oregon or wherever else, but I understand this market and what people are, like, what people are actually searching for. Because, you know, like Delco, we've got a unique way of speaking. We also have a unique way of searching for things. So it's figuring out, and over the years, I've started to pick up patterns, and I thought, okay, well, let me just structure everything so that it's mirroring and matching what people are searching for around here. Versus someone in Florida, they don't deal with the winter the way we do, or they don't deal with certain other, you know what I mean? Like, geographically, it's different. So I think the unique part of it, it's not that you're doing plumbing differently than someone in another part of the country. It's just, I understand what people in this area are searching for related to that. So I think that's what makes it a little unique.
So would you say that's one of the things that you like working about, like, in having your business based in your hometown or your home area, is that you kind of know that home area,
right?
So it gives you an inside edge a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly by that. How did this come up? How did MapPack Pro come into serve?
Yeah, so it evolved over the years. I had a business in the early 2000s, and this was right when the internet, like, people were just starting to build websites, and it was extremely costly to hire somebody at that time. And I had a friend who taught me the basics. So I built my own website, and then I started to, like, build for friends and family. And then I realized, like, once the 07, 08 crash came with the flipping, I said, I need to pivot, because this is not as stable. You make really good money, or you could lose really good money. So I started to shift over to building websites, and I was purely web design, because this was in 2010, because 2014 was when the Google Business Profile came out. So it was prior to that. And once I started building websites, I was building really nice websites. Everybody was happy, but I started to think to myself, a website by itself isn't going to get them any more business. We need to get people to the website. How do we do that? So that's when I started to figure out, well, how do we drive traffic, and how do we capture the lead information? And then Google Business Profile came out in 2014, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a gift from Google. I mean, they're putting you almost at the very top. And I don't remember exactly what the homepage used to look like back in 2014, but I don't know if you remember this, but in the early days, the Google ads were on the side.
Yeah.
They weren't at the top. So it might have been
a whole separate list.
Yeah, so it might have been, I don't remember though in 2014 if it was still like that, but it might have been that the MapPack was at the very top.
Right.
So that's when I said, well, this is a great opportunity. I didn't realize at the time that 75% of those clicks were going to go there. I don't think they did initially, because people were, figuring out what that was, but now people look, because you can see reviews, you can see how long they've been in business, you can see sometimes areas they serve. So it gives them a really good, like, customers a really good idea. And yeah, so that's why I kind of evolved from building a site just for myself to building for friends and family to building for, like, as a business, to then really getting into the marketing part of it. So
before this, before MapPack Pro, it was website development and flipping houses.
Right. Well, I was flipping houses, and then I shifted 100% into, I was like building like part-time. While I was flipping houses, I was building part-time, for like web design, just like for friends and family. I wasn't doing it like full-time at that point.
What's the hardest part about starting and now running the business?
Well, I think it's there's a lot of fly-by-night agencies out there, and everybody promises you the moon, and then so somebody might work with an agency like that, get burned because they don't see the results, and then I come by and then they're skeptical, you know?
Right.
So I think that's the biggest challenge. It's not to say that what I'm doing isn't working. It's the fact that I have to prove to clients that it's working. So that's why I do my best to like have a lot of data behind what I'm doing, so I can show people, look, this is what we look like before, this is what like we look like now, and it's like a steady, like I'm constantly showing my clients data so that they realize that they're getting an ROI from working with me. Because I can't just say, trust me, this is going to work. Like I have to show them. Like nobody's going to believe, you know, they have to see the results, and the results come from the phone ringing, more website traffic, more form submissions, more revenue. That if you can get people more revenue, they'll stick with you. But if you make false promises or empty promises, then they might stick with you for a couple months and then that's it.
I think Blaine from BMK Concrete has texted me almost every single day for the past like 8 days that he loves you and should have done it 6 months ago. Just so we're clear.
Right.
And every single day my reply is, I told you 6 months ago to do it. I don't know what to tell you, Blaine.
I know. And the thing is with him, I have to get his GMB profile isn't verified yet, so I have to schedule that. So we've only done half.
But that's what he's a masonry contractor.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of masonry contractors who put money or effort or time into the internet. Like
Right.
It's just, so, you know, it's kind of, there are a lot of service companies that do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, plumbing is one of those that there's a lot of private equity into my industry at this point.
Yeah.
And so they spend a lot of money there.
Sure. Yeah.
But masonry is one of those ones that private equity is into on the larger scale,
Right.
but not on the smaller home service industry side of it.
Right.
So, you know, telling him, dude, this is something that,
Right.
and now, you know, literally almost every day he calls me for the past 8 days,
Right.
telling me about it. So,
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, I always ask my clients, like, hey, what are some of your top competitors? Just so I can kind of see, like, how they're doing. And I start, well, he gave me 3, and one of them doesn't even have a website. The other 2, it looks like the website was built in, like, 2001.
With crayons.
Yeah, like, it was unbelievable. And I thought, this is going to be easy to get him to show up because his competition isn't really, they might be good.
Right.
I'm not saying that they're not good, but they're not showing up when people are searching. So he's going to have an edge. So,
you know, that's legitimately it. But you were talking about the data that you can see. You know, did that help you and your history with doing or building websites? Have you been able to develop any tools of your own that you're able to use with companies that help ultimately with your work? I mean, you know, to get your numbers up.
Yeah. So I'm not a coder in the traditional sense. I know a little bit of coding, but now that AI has kind of come out and been dominating, everybody thinks AI is the silver bullet. The thing is, AI is really good as a tool. And so what I decided to do was start having conversations with Claude and describing some of the issues I'm seeing my clients have. And I said, is there a way that we can build something together? Because you can't just let AI do its thing because it won't come out with good results. And so I've developed several tools for my clients. One of them is called the Field Signal app. And and your guys use this, it's basically a check-in app. On their phone, and what's awesome about it is it takes 10 seconds to use. And basically how it works is they go out at the job site and they open up the app, they select from a drop-down, they don't even have to type anything in. What service did they perform? And remember, these are custom built, so all of your services are listed there. What location? All of your main locations, so that you pick one closest to you. You select the technician's name, so we can keep track of who's checking in from where. And then they basically just take a photo right from the app, like that, and it shows up in the little preview, and then they just click post check-in. And what happens is the app actually writes the update, attaches the photo, and then sends it to your Google Business profile. You could send it to your Facebook business page. The nice thing is with this app is I've built a dashboard connected to it. So my clients, the owners, can then take a look and see, okay, Jake T, he checked in 6 times this week, and they can see the details, like where did they check in, what did they check in about, what service, what date and time did they check in. Because what I like to encourage my clients to do is encourage their team out in the field to check in once a day. If each one of them can check in once a day, that provides tremendous amount of activity in your Google Business profile. And the nice thing is, Google can tell that these photos are from out in the field, and they know where on the map you took the photo. So if we're telling Google on your website and on your Google Business profile that you do work in Swarthmore, and now they're seeing updates from Swarthmore, the pictures are from Swarthmore, all that's doing is sending that signal. That's why I called it field signal. It's a signal from the field. We are being truthful for you, Google. Like, we're telling you the truth, and then guess what happens? All of a sudden, you start shooting up into that map pack consistently in that area. So, yeah, so I built a whole bunch of tools, but that's the main one that I provide for my clients, and they love it because it's super easy for their team, and honestly, it takes 10 seconds. Like, there's no excuse for not using it once a day. It's such a simple tool.
As long as you remember the passcode.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So, revisiting, going back, talking about guys who necessarily haven't gotten burnt, but paid for something and didn't get that back.
Right.
So, what is something that people think they understand about the industry,
Right.
but generally get wrong?
Right. Well, sometimes they select the cheapest person, which isn't always the best. The reason they're charging so much less than everybody else is because they don't have the experience. So you might not get the great result. Another thing is they try to do it themselves, or they try to dictate like too much what we should be doing. When, like, if I were to hire you to come and fix something at my home, right, I wouldn't be telling you, hey, I need you to do that. I need you to sweat that pipe this way.
You'd be an old retired engineer if you were doing that.
Right.
Just so we're clear.
Right. That happens a lot.
I'm sorry, I love engineers' money, but the amount of times that a retired engineer has tried to tell us how they would do it before we did it.
Right.
It's a general, yeah. So
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100% get that.
So that's an issue, but I don't really have that problem. Most of my almost all of my clients are just like, look, we trust you. We want you to do. This is what our goal is. This is what we want. Just get it done. And I love those type of clients because then I can really just focus in. And I don't have to be. Of course, we're giving updates all the time. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is the results. This is what we're seeing. But I can really go to town and get them usually to rank pretty quickly. So yeah, I would say hiring the cheapest or hiring somebody that hasn't worked with your industry, because there's web designers and digital marketers that do not everything I do, but similar stuff, but they don't specialize in home service contractors. They do everybody. And that's the problem, because like if somebody like an accountant were to come to me, I'd probably turn them down because I don't know what their clients or their customers or potential customers are searching for. Like, it would take me a while to get up to speed, where if I bring on a new contractor today, I know exactly what I'm going to do because I've worked with multiple of those in the past. So yeah, that would be what I would say biggest mistakes.
When I talk to other people about, and especially other entrepreneurs, when they were going to spend money on building their SEO and stuff, the one thing I think I see the most is they don't let it work. Right? Getting results and getting results where you want them to be, two very different things, right? Like, you can go start working out, you're gonna feel better within a couple weeks. Right. You're not there where you want to be, but you feel a little bit better. Is that ultimately the biggest downfall you think of most entrepreneurs or business people trying to get where they want to be in terms of SEO numbers? Is that, you think, one of the biggest problems there with that?
Yeah, it's the amount of time. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
It's not to say that you have to wait 6 months to see any results.
Right.
But if you really want to dominate the map pack the way you're dominating, like, it takes at least 90 days. Like, it's not something that in 3 weeks, it's all of a sudden your entire geogrid is going to turn green and you're going to be in the map pack throughout your service area. But what you will see is incremental improvement. And that's why I like to run those geogrids every 2 weeks to kind of see, like, okay, I take a look at it. What is that data telling me? Okay, it means I have to do this. I'm going to implement that. I'm going to make sure that Google knows I implemented that. And then I'm going to check again. Okay, did that improve? Great, it did. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing. And it's a constant battle too, because it's not set it and forget it. You don't just, like, for me, when I bring a client on, it's not like I do my thing and then I just sit back and I collect a monthly retainer. Like, I'm working actively almost every day in these accounts because I have to watch to see, like, there could be a new competitor that comes in to compete against your plumbing business. It could be a big PE firm that buys somebody out, and now they've got a ton of marketing dollars behind them. Well, now I have to do something to make sure that we maintain and they don't push us out. So it's a constant battle, but yeah, I think being able to give it enough time, I'd say at least 90 days for you to start to see visible improvement, where the phone will start ringing more. You'll get more form submissions on your website, and you'll be getting more referrals and more reviews and everything. It's like a snowball that rolls down the hill. You know, it gets larger and faster over time. You just gotta let that snowball go. Like, don't expect after a few rolls it's gonna be powerful enough to knock something over. You know?
So any future problems, or not problems, but any future projects that are online right now or coming online to help within that?
Yeah, so I am building a client dashboard, a custom client dashboard that kind of connects in with all this data, and it brings it into one simple dashboard that I can share a link. It'll be a custom link for each client, and that way they can see all the data, and they can see even, like, how much revenue did we generate based on the leads that Dave got us, so that there's an actual ROI. Like, you're saying, okay, I'm paying Dave this, he's making me this. It makes sense. We should just keep working. Maybe we need to put more into other areas. So that's the thing. Like, I want to be very intentional with the data. I don't like to say, oh, you know, everything's going fine, everything's good. Like, I like to give my clients, like, hey, look, I need to prove to you that you working with me is actually making you more money.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you send out a monthly video.
Yeah, and sometimes for you every 2 weeks.
Because and he's usually really excited when he's talking on
especially when I see all that green,
And so, and what he's talking about by green is, you know, the map pack. We're gonna revisit that real quick before we move on. When you're talking about map pack, it's literally gonna be little numbers.
Yeah, the
in the map. You're gonna have a map of Delaware County, Chester County, whatever it is. It's an overlay, and then there's coordinates, little pins throughout the thing, and you can have those pins as far as you want or as close as you want, and you get a number there. And on that number, it's associated how you rank. So one is, you know, the top, you're ranking number 1, 2, 3, 4. I've seen them as low as 20.
Yeah.
I know I pull my own numbers 2-3 times a month sometimes. And I know outliers were 20s, and that's kind of what happens is you want to grow and you want those numbers to decrease, but you can see your outliers. Yeah. It's a 20 usually, and that's just the highest that it'll rank.
Yeah.
But those pins are what the map pack ultimately is, and where you're ranking at.
So it's basically like a circle or a square, and there's little circles like over top of your service area, and there's 3 different colors: red, yellow, green. So if you see green, you'll see a number in that green that says 1, 2, or 3. Well, that corresponds to the map pack. Are you in the first, second, or third position in the map pack, in that exact spot? So you have to think about it. Like, if I'm here right now, let's say we're in Wallingford, and I search, he might be in the first position. But if I drive to media and search, he might be in the second position. But that GeoGrid will show us exactly where you are throughout your service area. So this is why having local knowledge of the area is helpful for me, because I know, like, okay, I know you want to rank in Wallingford, Swarthmore, Nether Providence, Media, Newtown Square. So I'm going to put my focus on those areas to get those green, because I know those areas very well, and I know that that's where a lot of the searching is coming from. So if you were hiring somebody outside, from out of state or whatever, they might not know. They might just start going from the middle and trying to push out, where we're being very strategic about where we get you to rank in MapPack.
So back to you, free time, what do you do?
Yeah,
what do you like to do with free time other than building out MapPack?
Yeah, and building out software. I volunteer a lot at my church. I love being outside, like hiking, traveling. I'm taking a couple trips in the next month or so.
You use a lot of sunscreen, right?
Yes, and I always wear a hat because I don't have any hair on my head. I love being. My mom has a house down the shore. We've had it since 1942, actually, in Wildwood.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been my great grandfather purchased the house.
That's pretty cool.
And it's been transferred down throughout.
For 25 cents and a nickel.
Yeah, I don't know how much he paid for it. We were trying to find out that exactly.
Cool. Find that deed.
Yeah, he actually he came right off the boat from Italy back in 1910.
Where at? Do you know where from Italy?
I have to text my mom to find out the exact. It's near Naples. It's like south of Naples, I believe. It starts with an S. I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember the name.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, he came over and didn't speak any English. He's married with 2 kids at the time. He wound up having, I think, 7. My grandfather was his youngest child.
Wow.
And by the time he passed away, he started with a vegetable cart, and then he went and had a grocery store, 21st and Mifflin, which is not such a great neighborhood now, but it was an Italian area then. And he bought every one of his children a house, and he bought 2 houses down in Wildwood. And the one he bought was in the Crest. This was back in the late 40s. The Crest was all sand dunes. And it was right on the water, and he sold it because my great-grandmother didn't like it because there was nobody for her to talk to. All the Italian ladies on our street, which is the house we'd staying in now. So we looked up the house. It's worth like, I don't know, $6 or $7 million now. And I thought, oh my gosh, but yeah, so I go down the shore in the summers. I still work from wherever because I can bring my laptop. So those are the things that I do in my free time.
We don't get to fix toilets when we're on vacation.
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant, Delco.
Yeah, so,
in Delco, not down the beach.
Yeah, I would say Taikoku restaurant, which is Japanese and Thai fusion. The interesting thing about that is, you had asked me before, what type of sushi do I like? I don't eat sushi, even though I love that place. But their food is so phenomenal. I do have the California rolls. I just don't like raw fish. I can't stomach, like, thinking about putting that in my mouth. I don't know if I could do it. So, but. Yeah, Taikoku is amazing.
I love their sushi.
You should try their green curry fried rice with either Colby beef or chicken, or I forget what the other thing. Oh,
whenever I go to any place like that, I just eat so much sushi that I don't get anything else.
Yeah. Well, they have a buffet. Or they have it's a what's it called? Brunch. Yeah. And it's a buffet on Sundays. All you can eat. I mean, sushi too, but everything on there. It's amazing.
I have to try that one.
Yeah.
How can we find you? How can people find you?
Sure. The best way would be just to go to my website, localmappackpro.com.
Localmappackpro.com. At that point, reach out to our boy Dave. Like I said, being found online for any service provider is the ultimate litmus test if you're going to be able to survive. If you cannot be found locally, then you probably do a lot of construction work. And although that's fine, as you're trying to grow your business, the service industry is how you end up ultimately probably growing your business. So one last question, Dave. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite type of toilet paper?
I would say the Charmin Ultra, the big fluffy one. I know that's bad for the plumbing, but
no, it's great for
yeah, great for
bad
you.
For your plumbing, great for the plumber.
Yeah, that's true.
We're a big fan of Scott's single ply. Been my entire life.
Okay.
Generally doesn't clog, but you know what? We don't make money on stuff doesn't clog. So
right.
Y'all out there, feel free to keep using that Charmin quilted Ultra Northern, right? Dave, appreciate you coming out.
Yep.
Listen, guys, like I said, if you're growing a business, if you're trying to scale your business, if you're just trying to even just hang out and have a business, at this point, being found locally is the ultimate key, and I would highly advise you to give a shout out to localmatpackpro.com.
Yep. Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks,
Thanks guys.